Hey guys, it's me. We got the ex now. She's exposing some shit. Now, I read a few things like recently from the lizard or wizard Liz, the wizard Liz, and I don't know why she's trying to defend him. Once, something has happened, it really grabs people, and at the moment people are very angry about this, you know, because, you know, out of everyone, we're looking at Liz should have known, should have seen the red flags. Turns out that, this person here was actually kind of still dating him while he was dating Liz. So it seems to me like this guy is a serial player. Definitely psychopathic. Definitely he knows what he's doing. Let's hear what she's got to say.
He does that, whatever he wants. I don't care what he does. So when everyone was like, oh my God, Landon's here, he's so sweet, he's so nice, he's a gamer. One of my friend's sister worked for his cousin that's Preston Plays. So everyone's saying he's just such a nice person. And I'm like, great, you could be a nice person, you're in my age range, you're freaking smart. I'm a sapiosexual and a demisexual, so I love when people are smart. I love having someone intellectually dominate me. I love that. So he's just really good with his words. And I told him I would just want nothing but friendship. So we did the 4th of July together. I met all of his friends. He met some of my friends, and everyone was just having a grand old time. And I went home after that, and he's like, I'll come with you. I was like, no, like, I'm not, I can't. Like, there's so much in my heart. I don't feel safe being with a guy I don't know. Everything like that, because I had to bring what happened to me into that, because that was in April, and we were talking in July, and then we started officially dating in August. He made me feel so loved, so seen, so heard, so understood. He took my trauma that I didn't want to open up about, and he made it feel like I'm safe. And I believed him, because at the end of the day, like, he was just such a nice person. I'm hearing it from all of his friends, from all of my girlfriends that know him personally, because they've been his bottle girl for years. And I'm like, wow, like, could this be the guy that I prayed for? Like, could this be everything I ever wanted in life? And I was not educated in therapy. I was not educated in psychology. I was not educated in anything spiritual. And he awakened something in me that I always knew I had. I always have been super, super, super emotional, and I felt everything that someone else was feeling. So I knew that I was a codependent early on in the relationship, because I'm fawning around him, because we have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So I was doing that, and I was always like talking about how I'm hurting and like everything like that. So I realized that there was something neurologically wrong with me, because I kept on going back over and over again. And I don't want to make this a long video.
No, that's kind of like what goes on in a relationship, such with a narcissist. They blame you for everything. But it's actually changing the way with this, and then other people we're gonna see getting involved in this. It's going to change the way women look at men. Period. Maybe this had to happen. Because if it was just done normally, like it's going on throughout the world. How many women left their abusive husbands or cheating husbands that day that, Liz did? It's going on around the world all the time. It's going to change the way that women view men. There needs to be something else, that there needs to be another kind of blueprint, because I really do think that the way Liz you know, kind of fell for him, you know, straight off, you know, and the relationship went so fast, you know, it went so fast. That to me is just a red flag within itself, because they both were in relationships. You know, they both were in relationships. So there's a lot more to this story than we know. You know, what is Landon? You know, does he do drugs? You know, is he a felon? You know, did he ever hurt someone? You know, the ex is coming out saying that he hit her. He did all this abusive stuff, like mentally, spiritually, all of that, physically, you know, stalked her, stalking, lied about her. You know, now Landon's like, well, she's a liar, da 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 da. She's got receipts, dude. She's got receipts. I don't know. Maybe it's for clout. Who knows? I mean, but people will figure it out. People will figure it out. But this here, you're going to get a lot more, probably women coming out of the woodwork. Like I said, check that history. Check the history. You know, I mean, you do not want to spend your time with somebody like that that's going to waste your time. It may be, you know, love at first sight or whatever the hell they call it. I don't think that's really love, really. You know, unconditional love is, I love you unconditionally for who you are and all of that. I mean, yeah. Now the gurus are like talking about it. You know, you have to be a very strong person. You know, it makes you strong. Whatever situation, it makes you stronger. It makes you see a lot of things. And I'm telling you, like Liz right now is seeing these things. And I think she just posted something. I didn't know she was into tarot, but she is. She is. A lot of us that were mentally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually abused by one of these people, we end up going to a different spiritual, like, plane. I would have to say that. Because we all find out this is all about energy at the end of the day. You know, whether it's negative or positive. So, I like that the ex came out. I don't know if it's true or not, but it almost seems like he was also seeing her as well. Because the timing of it, like in April, she's 4 months pregnant. The timing, you know, is different. I mean, it's kind of overlapping. You know, that's sad. She's a pretty girl too. But I get the stalking though. Once you've slept with one of those, they actually think that that's kind of like a soul tie with them, and you got to do a lot of cord cutting. Because these people think that your appliances, like you're something to own. They have a different way of thinking. Actually. And if you really, really knew what they were thinking and how they maneuver, it would make you sick. It would make you sick, because that's the real person. There's always that little monster inside them that is never satisfied. That's why it's like a spiritual warfare thing going on. You know? Sometimes to disarm these people, the truth has to come out. And when the truth comes out, they want to make sure that they don't want the truth to come out. They never ever do. And when, Wizard Liz, exposed him, there's no use of saving him. Okay? People are going to put a bunch of stuff in his DMs, like, unaliving him and all that. They're going to do that. They're angry. They're angry. And they need to put the blame on someone. That's a lot of negative energy from, how many followers? 8.2 million? 8.2 million. A lot of negative energy. All right, guys, that's it.